Last time we stopped at this paragraph where the Buddha asked the questions, series of questions. What do you think, Kalamas? Are these things wholesome or unwholesome? Unwholesome, venerable sir. Blamable or blameless? Blamable, venerable sir. Censored or praised by the wise? Censored, venerable sir. Undertaken and practiced, do they lead to harm and suffering, or how is it in this case? Undertaken and practiced, it will lead to harm and suffering. And it appears to the Kalamas in this case. I'll continue reading. It was for this reason, Kalamas, that we said, do not go by oral tradition. ... Come, Kalamas, do not go by oral tradition, by lineage of teaching, by hearsay, by a collection of texts, by logic, by inferential reasoning, by reason, cogitation, by the acceptance of the few after pondering it, by the seeming competence of a speaker, or because you think the ascetic is our teacher. But when you know for yourselves, these things are wholesome, these things are blameless, these things are praised by the wise, these things, if undertaken and practiced, lead to welfare and happiness, then you should engage in them. So after asking the series of questions, and then the Buddha repeat the answer as a summary for the Kalamas. Next paragraph is the cycle. Would you like to read?
What do you think, Kalamas, when non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion arise in a person? Is it for his welfare or harm? For his welfare, Venerable Sir. Kalamas, a person who is without greed, without hatred, without delusion, not overpowered by greed, hatred, and delusion, his thoughts not controlled by them, will abstain from the destruction of life, from taking what is not given, from sexual misconduct, and from false speech. He will also prompt others to do likewise. Will that conduce to his welfare and happiness for a long time? Yes, Venerable Sir.
Okay, thanks, Sister Second. Now, this one, the Buddha touched on this three, the opposite of the three poisons: non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. So if you recall, even though it's worded this way, this implies the positive counterpart. For example, non-greed implies the positive counterpart is generosity. Non-hatred, the positive counterpart would be loving kindness. And non-delusion implies wisdom. Okay, and then here the Buddha touched on a person without greed, hatred, and delusions, not overpowered by them, they will abide by the 5 precepts. The destruction of life, taking what is not given, from sexual misconduct and false speech. Yeah, if you count here, is for the drinking, the alcoholic drinking is not included here. So sometimes you will see that drinking is not included when the Buddha enumerating the 5 precepts. Why precisely? I'm not totally sure. Does anyone know why?
Can you repeat your your question again, Marcel?
Because we when we do chanting in the morning, we always chant the 5 precepts, and it includes abstaining from drinking alcohol. Sometimes in the sutta, the Buddha will expound the 4 precepts like this: abstaining from killing, from stealing, from sexual misconduct, and false speech, or from lying. But sometimes like this drinking alcoholic stuff is not included here. So So I'm not sure why it's the case.
I suppose, maybe, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but it could possibly be the moment you drink, you will do all these.
Mhm.
You do all these four. You are prone to doing any of these four. And therefore, it is to be interpreted that within each of these wrong deeds or unwholesome deeds, you have to ensure that you do not do anything that will bring about the unwholesome deed respectively. That's how I would interpret it.
Yes, that could be one possible answer. I think this four is more direct. Yeah, it directly harms people. While the fifth, like Sister Shomei mentioned, it conduces for you to commit or break these four precepts.
For the longest time, I wonder why do not steal comes as a second precept. And then I realized that it is only when you realize that you're not supposed to steal that you will not conduct sexual misconduct.
How is that? How is that link? Stealing and sexual misconduct?
Because sexual misconduct actually in some other texts is indicated as adultery or something like that, includes adultery. So when you commit sexual misconduct, it would include invariably taking or copulating with whoever is not yours.
Oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. Very cool. Okay, thanks for sharing. And from what I heard, stealing is also, I think, one of the highest offense in the Vinaya. Yeah, I need to double check that, but I think that's what I heard. Okay. Any more questions or comments?
My guess is also, I don't know about the chronological order of how the suttas has been expounded. The Kalamas suttas, I don't know whether it's very early in the Buddha's days where he has not, that means the fifth precept has not been, administered. Because usually Buddha will administer precept based on the wrong things or unwholesome things that the monk has done. So in this case, I think there's one monk who drink alcohol and then conduct all of the above. So I mean, chronological wise, I don't know whether is it because sometimes 4 precepts is because the 5th precept hasn't even been administered to the Sangha yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Saikyang mentioned that the Buddha enforced a rule when the Buddha sees something, someone has done something wrong, or when someone has done something, it will lead to harm. So maybe at this point, the Buddha hasn't haven't encountered the alcoholic problems, and then at some point in the future, the Buddha sees someone drinking and cause a lot of trouble, and that's where the Buddha enforced the 5th precepts. Yeah, that could be one explanation. Okay, thanks, Saikyang.
Can I ask, what is the interpretation of not taking intoxicating drinks or anything else of mine? Is it a case of not taking to the point of intoxication, or is it a point of total avoidance? And I realize that different people practice it differently.
Well, of course, the safest is just a total avoidance. You don't need to think too much of it. Just avoid it altogether. The safest, the most convenient way to interpret it. Of course, some people say, drink 1 or 2 cups. I heard a lot of times. 1 or 2 cups, okay, as long as I can control myself. But I think some studies show, even if you just drink a small cup, when you do some kind of a test, your cognitive will already lower down by a lot. Okay, why this question?
No, nothing, just wondering.
Okay.
Oh yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, for me, even the worldly reasons for not drinking is already good enough for me. Firstly, I don't even like the taste at all. I'd rather drink, even water tastes better for me. Or I can drink some tea or coffee. Secondly, the cost of it, it will break down my wallet. So even just these two reasons alone is enough for me to abstain from drinking. And of course, on top of that, there's also these Buddhist reasons, which makes it even stronger for me to abstain. Thanks for the question. Okay, shall we continue reading? Sister Choi Kwan.
What do you think, Kalamas? Are these things wholesome or unwholesome? Wholesome, Venerable Sir. Blamable or blameless? Blameless, Venerable Sir. Censored or praised by the wise? Praised, Venerable Sir. Undertaken and practiced, do they lead to welfare and happiness or not? Or how is it in this case? Undertaken and practiced, these things lead to welfare and happiness. So it appeared to us in this case. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sister Choi Kwan. Okay. Here again, the Buddha concludes with a series questions. Ask them with a series of questions. Ask the Kalamas, and then the Kalamas answered accordingly. Okay. Next one, Sister Shomei. Would you like to read? Okay, you're muted.
It was for this reason, Kalamas, that we said, do not go upon oral tradition. Then Kalamas, that noble disciple, devoid of covetousness, devoid of ill will, unconfused, clearly comprehending, ever mindful, dwells pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with loving kindness, likewise the second quarter, third, and the fourth. Thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to himself, he dwells pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, vast, exalted, measureless, without hostility and without ill will.
Okay, thanks, Sister Shomei. Let's take a look at footnote number 6. Here, the Buddha introduces the 4 divine abodes. Brahma Vihara. What are these 4? Boundless loving kindness, compassion, altruistic joy, and equanimity. So if you know the Pali word, the first one is metta, loving kindness, karuna, compassion, altruistic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha. Okay, so here the Buddha introduces this concept, the Brahma Vihara. Next paragraph, Sister Aikim. Would you like to read?
He dwells pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with compassion, with intrinsic joy, with equanimity, likewise the second quarter, the third, and the fourth. Thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to himself. He dwells pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with equanimity, vast, exalted, measureless, without hostility and without ill will.
Thanks, Sister Aikim. Okay, let's try to finish by today. This sutta, Sister Billy, would you like to read?
When, Kalamas, This noble disciple has thus made his mind free of enmity, free of ill will, uncorrupted and pure. He has won 4 assurances in this very life. The first assurance he has won is this: if there is another world, and if good and bad deeds bear fruit and yield results, it is possible that with the breakup of the body after death, I shall arise in a good destination in the heavenly world.
Thanks, Sister Billy. So this is where the Buddha starts to really answer the questions of the Kalamas, with regards, especially with regards to rebirth, and what are the consequences if they undertake the 5 precepts, or if they do good stuff. So this is the first assurance: if there's another world, and in afterlife they will arrive in a good destination. Okay, Sister Sigmei, would you like to read next?
The second assurance he has won is this: if there is no other world, and if good and bad deeds do not bear fruit and ill results, still right here in this very life, I live happily, free of enmity and ill will.
Okay, thanks, Sister Sigmei. So this one, the Buddha covers all scenarios. The first scenario, when there's afterlife, when there's another world, and this one, the second scenario. Even if there's no other world, if you do good stuff, still in this very life, you will live happily, free of enmity and ill will. The third assurance he has won is this: suppose evil befalls the evildoer, then, as I do not intend evil for anyone, how can suffering afflict me, one who does no evil deed? The fourth assurance he has won is this: suppose evil does not befall the evildoer, then right here I see myself purified in both respects. Footnotes number 7. MP, the commentary: because he does no evil and because no evil, in other words, suffering will come to him. When Kalamas, this noble disciple, has thus made his mind free of enmity, free of ill will, uncorrupted and pure, he has won these 4 assurances in this very life. So it is, blessed one, so it is, fortunate one, the Kalamas says. When this noble disciple has thus made his mind free of enmity, free of ill will, uncorrupted and pure, he has won these 4 assurances in this very life. Magnificent, Venerable Sir, magnificent, Venerable Sir. The Blessed One has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he was turning upright what had been overthrown, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the darkness so those with good eyesight can see forms. We now go for refuge to the Blessed One, to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha of monks. Let the Blessed One accept us as lay followers who have gone for refuge from today until life's end. Footnote number 8. This is a stop passage. Going for refuge is the end by which a new convert acknowledges of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha as guiding ideals. In Buddhist tradition, it has become the procedure by which one formally declares oneself a Buddhist. So sometimes you will see in the temple, there's a ceremony of taking refuge. This is where it comes from. Okay, this is taken from Anguttara Nikaya 365. With that, we end this sutta. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Any questions or comments for this sutta?
Can I just check about 3 slides before this? What is the quarters? They mentioned first quarter, second quarter. What is this? Like the last paragraph, like 1 quarter with his mouth. What is that quarter?
It's the timing. I think we divide the 24 hours previously the timing, they divide to every 6 hours, I think. Yeah, every 6 hours is 1/4. So the whole day will be made up of one whole. So each quarter means every 6 hours. 60, I think it's the previous way of setting the time into 60, every 60吉祥嘛，就是 yeah. So they have a different way of I think dividing the time. That's how I interpret that. I don't know whether it's correct or not myself.
Honestly, I've never heard of it, but it could be. It could be plausible.
Yeah.
Timing, and then because initially I thought it's like, you know, the area of quarter, like 90 degrees, that is quarter. Right? So this quarter and then the next 90 degrees. But that's a good question. I never thought about it. But let me double check later. Or we can all double check later.
Yeah.
Thanks for
The
this.
same again for the above, below, across, and everywhere, is it?
Yeah, that one is direction, space. Like it's actually space and time. We always talk about like before, now, after, you know. So it's time, and then space is, you know, up, down, left, right, the north, south, east, west, that direction, the 10 directions. Yeah.
Yes. And sometimes I heard above and below. Above can also refers to the heavenly beings, the realms above us, and below, the realms below us, like animal realms and hell realms and ghost realms.
So meaning we are supposed to practice it at all times and wherever we are. Lah.
Yes. Correct.
If possible. Ideally.
Correct, because he dwells the entire world. That means all the time. I think, yeah, that is the moral behind. Buddha want us to be mindful and, yeah, to be free from ill will, ignorance and all this. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the question. Anything else to add? If not, let's do the dedication. 愿消三障除烦恼，愿得智慧真明了。不愿罪障悉消除，实是常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a magnificent Tuesday.